Well, the Rockets showed up for the trip to Muncie and come out with an impressive victory over Ball State. And Mike Robinson from the Toledo Rocket Radio Network joins us now. You hear him on the sidelines each and every UT game. Mike, Rob, thanks for spending some time with us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Mark. Appreciate being here.
Let's talk a little about that win over Ball State as they got off to the quick start. The defense did the job in the middle. They got some late scores to put the game away. It's a performance we've been expecting to see out of the Rockets all season long. We finally saw it against a Division I opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. It was good to be out there and see what happened with the Rockets' defense. I mean, for the second week in a row, we talked about it. They've not allowed a defensive touchdown. The last week, obviously, they had the special teams touchdown. Hey, but you know what? This defense is gumming things up. Culpepper, he has been a huge piece of this defensive line. Jackson Burrow stepping up. Terrence Taylor, this is a group up front. This front seven has got to be the best in the MAC. And on the second half of that defense, they play extremely well too. No one's testing Womack out there on the island. He got tested a little bit versus Notre Dame, but this secondary is pretty stout, and it was good to see Tyson Anderson back out there on the field a little bit.
What makes this defense so special for the Rockets this season?
You know what? I'll give it to the coaches. You know, Vince Karras does an excellent job getting this group together. And then Coach Cool up there on the D-line. I mean, they're so cool and they're so calm out there. And you can just see the adjustments happening on the sideline. And that's the fun part about my job is you get to sit there and you get to hear the things that they're talking about and the keys that they're making. So they're making each play break down by play, by drive. And they're feeding these guys knowledgeable information so they go back out there and they're making great adjustments. So I think the coaching is doing a really good job so far.
Speaking of coaching, Jason Candle is committed to this two-quarterback system against Ball State. You could see what Carter Bradley could do. You could see what Daquan Finn could do. And let's face it, Daquan a little bit more dynamic in that long touchdown run. The offense seems to move a little bit better with Daquan, but Carter is extremely efficient. Is there a quarterback controversy brewing with the Rockets right now?
I don't necessarily think it's a controversy going on. I think you got a two-quarterback system, a true one. You know, I think both of these quarterbacks get along. Daquan Finn obviously brings something different. He brings that dynamic you talked about. He had the 70-yard touchdown run. He's come in the game for the past 3 weeks, you know, in that third series, and he's coming bringing that spark of life to this football team. You wonder if he's going to get a few more series earlier in the game because what he can do on his feet. You know, the ground game has kind of been stale a little bit, but as far as the quarterbacks, I think Carter Bradley does another thing for this football team. He puts the ball on the money, and he's a true leader. I think this team believes in him, and he also got outside the pocket a little bit, protecting himself and being risky, you know, diving for first downs and gaining extra yards. So he's letting them know that he's a little agile too.
Speaking of that rushing attack, it seems like in the last couple of years we've seen Toledo be really good when they've had several running backs they can rely on. Right now it seems like it's just Brian Koback. Who is that second running back that's going to need to emerge, and is that second running back maybe a quarterback in Daquan Finn?
Well, you know what? I'm a strong believer in, you know, having a running quarterback, having a passing quarterback, and having what fits your system. And that's the one thing we're trying to still figure out is what's the true system here that Toledo's trying to execute. When they have Daquan Finn in there, it is a nice 1-2 punch with Koback. But as far as the second running back, you have Jacquez Stewart, who was an immediate impact in this game. He got in and had a 50-yard runner, and he also got this football team down to the goal line where they was able to get a few points on the board. But at the same time, Micah Kelly is another big impact to this football team. So you're missing Shaquille Seymour as that bruiser from last year, but now you kind of got to find a way to get those other two running backs in there and also keep your ground game going with Daquan Finn because he's electric.
Rockets remain on the road this week as they travel to UMass, former Mid-American Conference member UMass. We won't get into how bad of a decision that was to have UMass in the MAC, but they take on the Minutemen, and this is a very, I'm not going to mince words, it's a very bad UMass team. They haven't won a game in a long time.
Yeah, you know, they're on a 15-game losing streak right now, and this is something that the Rockets shouldn't take lightly because anytime a team is, you know, down and out like this, you know, this team wants to get a victory very, very bad. You know, you can look and see trick plays coming out there, out of their playbook, and they're going to bring out all stops. It's a home game for them. So the Rockets got to come into this game locked in and not have a slump like they kind of did when they went into the Colorado State game. I think the mentality of this football team at Ball State on the road, they look well prepared. They look like they were locked into what was going on game time. It's got to be the same mentality going here versus UMass because this is a football team that got two wide receivers that average 15 yards per catch whenever they get targeted. So you got to be careful here in the secondary. So defense got to step up again.
we've seen this Rocket team perhaps focus a little bit better on the road. And as they stay on the road, I think this is perhaps an opportunity for the offense to gain some confidence, because this is a UMass defense that allows a lot of points, allows a lot of yardage. So this is really a good chance for UT to get a boost of confidence, a Rocket boost of confidence, if you will, against the Minutemen.
Absolutely. And one thing that we learned about the Mid-American Conference this year, is that the home teams aren't staying in hotels anymore. So you wonder if that focus kind of, shifts a little bit when the teams are home now, where they used to be able to go to the hotel, stay the night, kind of lock in, get everybody riled up. Now your team is, the away team gets that luxury of being with your team the whole night before, having that team dinner, having that routine, and also having your team together. I think that makes a big part of these home games now in the Mid-American Conference, is not having your team together with you. So I think going out on the road is good, because they all get to lock in and they get to have that same game day routine that they've had in the past.
Mike Robinson, thank you for being part of our team, and good luck on the road this week.
Thanks.